Welcome to the Grace Smith Podcast. I'm Grace Smith, and today I'll teach you how you can reprogram your mind for lasting weight loss using powerful hypnotherapy techniques. We'll be following along with the proven protocol from my best-selling book, Close Your Eyes, Lose Weight, which has helped thousands of people not just lose weight, but keep it off for good. In this first episode, we're exploring why the heck it's been so hard to lose the weight in the past and why hypnosis is the tool that will finally work for you. Let's go ahead and dive in, starting with a very important note on body positivity, and I share this very early on in my book. So I'm going to turn to page 6 for those of you who have my book and want to follow along. The importance of body positivity. Even though I have helped thousands of clients and customers lose weight with hypnosis, I was nervous about writing this book. I was nervous it might appear that I believe, or that this book might contribute to the cultural discourse and belief, that one has to look a certain way to earn love and acceptance. I do not believe that, not for 1 second. I believe that being healthy, happy, and free is the goal. This can be achieved in so many shapes and sizes. Feeling unhealthy, depressed, and caged in is causing human beings to live less fulfilling lives than the ones they deserve to live. The only thing I want for you is to learn how to access your subconscious mind so you can do and think and feel what you want to do and think and feel. To reject what others want for you and what their conditioning is keeping you from experiencing. Your freedom. I hope you want to fall in love with your magnificence, which is not something you can buy because you're already magnificent. Hypnosis can help you to accept and own that truth. I hope you want to stop hiding for fear of judgment, for fear of attention, for fear of being too much, for fear of not being enough. Hypnosis can help you do that by building up your self-worth, self-love, and self-confidence, which are your birthrights. I hope you want to stop feeling like you have to apologize for being who you are. Hypnosis can help you do that by reinforcing that your uniqueness, including your physical body, is your superpower. I hope you want to experience what mental freedom is and know that you are worthy and deserving of having it. Also, I'm right there with you right now because I'm about 4 weeks away from giving birth to my third baby. So I am so glad I have done the work that I've done around self-love and body positivity to be able to enjoy this process as much as possible because my clothes don't fit, obviously, for good reason. It's hard to breathe. I have anemia that I just found out this morning. There's all these things going on physically, but I already know because I've been through this program, because I created this program, that my body will eventually get back to the healthiest version of itself, and I can love it all the way back there instead of hating it all the way back there. Well, it wouldn't work anyway, but attempting to hate it all the way back there, which will allow me to enjoy this process and the postpartum time infinitely more. So this program is not just for folks who've always struggled with obesity. It's folks who are going through menopause and their body's changing. It's the mamas who just had their babies and they've been told by society to snap back, and that's just ridiculous. So wherever you are in your journey, I want you to know I'm actually on the journey with you right now, and we're going to get there together through self-love. So when I wrote this book a couple of years ago, Ozempic was not yet on the market. And there has been a really drastic cultural shift since semaglutide, Ozempic, and these weight loss drugs have been available because folks who were sort of at the forefront of the body positivity movement have, some of them, been using these weight loss drugs and have lost a considerable amount of weight. So now we're kind of in this confusing space where body positivity still exists as it should, but also these weight loss drugs are rampant and some of them are saving lives and helping people to experience breakthroughs that they never could before, which can be wonderful. Some people have tried these drugs and it's made them incredibly sick and it doesn't work for them. But one thing I want to point out before we even get into the next section, which is why it was so hard to lose weight in the past, is that even before these weight loss drugs came on the market, when body positivity became so massive, at least in Western culture, I never had folks come to us in our hypnotherapy practice and say that they didn't want to lose weight anymore. They just said, I still want to lose the weight. Now I just feel guilty and ashamed for wanting to because I'm supposed to love my body the way it is. But I'm exhausted, or my doctor says that these levels are unhealthy in my blood work, or I'm afraid that I'm going to have the same fate that my grandparents did who were obese. There is this wonderful, wonderful thing about body positivity that we have to embrace, and that is about loving yourself. Because the truth is, and I'm putting this in air quotes, but if you could hate yourself skinny, everyone would have already, right? If all it took was self-loathing to lose weight, it wouldn't be a problem. Everybody would have lost the weight. So I want you to know, if you're in a place where you're kind of confused, you're potentially a little bit triggered about the topic of weight loss because you feel like you shouldn't be interested in it, but there's a part of you that is, and then there's shame and guilt because of it, and you kind of wish you could do semaglutide, but it makes you sick. I want you to know all of those things are acceptable here. I want you to know that whether you've used the weight loss drugs or not, it's perfectly fine. I just know that there are folks that even who've used it and it worked for them, they don't want to have to take it for the rest of their lives. And they want to heal whatever the root cause is that got them to the place where they needed those drugs in the first place. So wherever you fall on the spectrum, you are welcome here. Wherever your emotional jumping off point is with this topic, I get it. We've seen the full spectrum. You're allowed to come with all of your feelings. And I want you to know that the crux of this work is truly about falling in love with your magnificence, healing whatever was the initial root cause for having a relationship with food that was not the one that you desire, and allows you to be in an empowered place to finally say, I know what the healthiest version of myself is, and that's the only thing I'm pursuing. And that doesn't necessarily have to do with a number on the scale or the size of the pants that I'm wearing. Okay, so I'm excited that you're here. And by the end of this mini series, you're going to feel a whole lot better. I truly believe that we all deserve to feel healthy, happy, and free. And that includes being at peace with our bodies, whatever shape or size they may be. But here's the truth. Even when we're ready to embrace our magnificence, our subconscious mind can still hold us back. This is why so many people, despite having the desire and the knowledge, struggle to achieve the lasting weight they want. The difficulty in losing weight often doesn't stem from a lack of willpower or knowledge. Instead, it comes from deeper, hidden forces within our subconscious. We have learned to hold on to patterns, beliefs, and emotional connections to food that have kept us stuck. Understanding these blocks is the first step in rewriting the narrative we've been carrying around, so we can break free and move forward with confidence. So let's begin by answering the question, why was it so hard to lose the weight in the past? And that brings us to the subconscious mind versus the conscious mind. One of the reasons weight loss can feel like such a struggle is the disconnect between what we consciously want, such as losing weight, and the subconscious beliefs we hold. Even though you may consciously want to lose weight, there could be subconscious beliefs that work against that goal, like thinking you're quote unquote not good enough, or quote unquote, it's just in your genes to be overweight. These conflicting beliefs create a resistance to change, which can manifest as self-sabotage and frustration. This is why even the most well-intentioned efforts don't always result in lasting change. Another key factor is the weight-related beliefs passed down through generations. Many people carry subconscious beliefs inherited from their families, such as, quote unquote, women in my family can't lose weight after a certain age. These generational patterns often create a sense of inevitability around weight struggles, making it feel like weight loss is a battle that you're destined to lose. But that's false. The good news is that hypnosis can help you break free from these patterns and rewrite your story. Now, food also can very often become an emotional crutch. Some of us turn to food for comfort when we're stressed or anxious, and foods have been engineered to release dopamine, foods like chocolate or pizza, and they can feel like a reward or a source of relief. But this can also lead to addiction-like behaviors. The subconscious mind uses these foods to calm stress or numb emotional pain, leading to cycles of emotional eating that become difficult to break. And perhaps most powerfully, many people unconsciously resist weight loss because they associate weight with safety or even identity. And I know that might just sound very wild and unlikely to the conscious mind, but after thousands and thousands of case studies, we'll get into this deeper in the mini series. I cannot begin to tell you how prevalent that is. That losing weight may feel threatening because the subconscious might believe that it makes you vulnerable to unwanted attention. Or by losing the weight, it could change how you see yourself and your entire identity. This fear of losing the identity that has been tied to your body can create subconscious resistance, making the weight loss process feel even harder. These deep-rooted subconscious factors are why weight loss can be so difficult, even when we understand what to do. It's not just about willpower. In fact, it's very little about willpower long term. It's about recognizing and reprogramming the subconscious beliefs that have been keeping you stuck. So in the coming weeks, we'll be focusing on how to release these limiting beliefs and emotional patterns and reprogram your mind for success. And this is where the hypnosis comes in, helping you easily access your subconscious and create lasting change. Let's go ahead and review my 12-week protocol. It's the program that created my book, Close Your Eyes, Lose Weight. And I'll tell you a little bit about each week as we go through it. So week 1 is the fundamentals: chew, hydrate, and stop. The reason we start here is because most of us have been trained to kind of scarf down our food, but it can take up to 20 minutes for the gut to be able to tell the brain, I'm full. So chewing our food and making sure that we actually are only allowing pretty much liquid to enter into our stomachs and therefore into our digestive system not only makes it so much easier for our bodies. They're not going to have to break down these huge chunks of food, making us exhausted and depleting the amount of nutrients we actually get out of it. It also speeds up that ability for our bodies to tell our brains we are full because we've been taking the time to chew. Hydration. So many of us are chronically dehydrated. And a lot of times we think we're hungry when we're actually just thirsty. And finally, knowing when to stop, not just eating everything on our plate because it's there, not heaping more food than we're actually going to need. Building these things in, not just knowing them consciously. Everybody knows we should chew. Everybody knows we should drink water. Everybody knows we should stop when we're full. I'm talking about training your subconscious to do these things automatically. Just this can change everything. Week 2, the limiting beliefs that have to go. So a lot of these are the generational ones we alluded to earlier. Also, for folks who have been on this yo-yo of the start and stop, it worked a little and then I gained it all back and then some. There is such a huge arsenal of limiting thoughts and beliefs in the subconscious about why this won't work. Right? I've tried it in the past. I've tried everything, or my family can't do it. And we have to make sure that we rewire all those thoughts from the very beginning so that you are going into this new paradigm of what it means for you to live in your correct, healthiest body, and that you believe fully and completely at the subconscious level that not only is that possible, but you absolutely will be successful. Week 3, intuitive eating. Now, food is so polarizing. It's so political all of a sudden. You know, the vegans and the all raw meat people versus the people who don't want the kids to eat any toxins versus the lobbyists of the whatever. It's like, oh my gosh. Sometimes we just need to trust our intuition and know what's actually healthy for us. Now, highly processed food is not healthy for anyone. We know this. All these chemicals that have just come into the food system in the last however many years, our bodies are not designed to be able to digest that. But beyond that, if it's a whole food, if it's coming from the best source that you can afford to get it from, developing your intuition about what your body needs is empowering and necessary because there's so much noise. And every 5 years, all the information changes, right? Eggs are healthy, eggs are evil. So it's like trusting your body, trusting your brain, and also on top of that, getting a couple food sensitivity tests just to see, fine tune your intuition. and train your intuition about what's right for your unique body. Week 4, training your brain to crave exercise. So those folks, and I know you know some of them, who just like jump out of bed in the morning and can't wait to go for a run. They fine tune your intuition and train your intuition about what's right for your unique body. Week 4, training your brain to crave exercise. So those folks, and I know you know some of them, who just like jump out of bed in the morning and can't wait to go for a run. That is like one type of human being, right? And everyone else who's not that type of being might give those folks a little bit of an eye roll. But imagine if you could train yourself subconsciously to become one of them, that instead of getting that dopamine release in the reward center of the brain through foods that have been chemically engineered to act like cocaine, what if you craved exercise too, to get your endorphins and to get that dopamine hit and a sense of pride? And in the meantime, you're making your body so much healthier. So this is a very, very fun chapter, and one that people really fall in love with. Week 5, emotional eating. One of the biggest reasons that we all overeat, just getting that little bit of that release from the reward center of the brain when things are stressful. We got to address it at the subconscious level. Week 6, eating when bored, just being habitualized that when we've got nothing else to do, we head to the pantry, rewiring that. Week 7, upgrade how you reward yourself. So it's really not your fault. Since you were a little kid, it's likely that every time you had a birthday party, there was cake there. Potentially when you did well on your report card, it might have been followed by pizza or a lollipop. We have been trained since we were little to reward quote unquote good behaviors with sweets or treats or junk food. But we also have been trained since we were little that when we're going through something hard, that we comfort ourselves with those same foods. So it's a radical new concept to train the subconscious that if you actually want to reward yourself, you don't do it with something that's hurting your body. You do it with something that lifts you up, helps you, is fun. So that's a really radical, fun chapter for the subconscious, and can take folks who've been on that yo-yo up and down, just forward into a completely new relationship with their body, because they actually want to help themselves with a reward instead of hurting themselves with a reward. Week 8, the people and places that trigger you. So grandma's house, a lot of the times, right? Or there's just so many examples of this, but mapping out the places that can take us out, that even when you've made all the progress, or there's certain times in the calendar year where it's like you've been doing so great, but now that holiday is coming, and that holiday is defined by the few family recipes. Preparing yourself subconsciously for this, using the subconscious scaffolding and future pacing to visualize yourself bringing your own food, eating before you go, the conversations and the onslaught of the aunts and uncles asking you why you're saying no, and you confidently holding your ground, but still having a great time and not feeling deprived. You can't just walk into those situations thinking they're going to go smoothly. They're really hard, but if you mentally rehearse at the subconscious level, the same way an athlete would mentally rehearse for the championship game, it can be tremendously successful. And then the next year feels easy peasy because you've already done it and you have precedent. Week 9, putting the law of attraction to work. So for week 9, I'll just share something that my friend Sarah Prout wrote for our book, because she's an expert in the law of attraction and I interviewed her for this. So on page 215, she says, the traditional approach to manifesting and the law of attraction is the phrase thoughts become things. But that's one piece of a much more complex puzzle. Your emotions are what construct the fabric of your reality, especially your physiology. When you feel good within your body now, with gratitude for your journey, and you work from there, then the universe will respond with your intention. Essentially, in this chapter, we are having you visualize that you already are madly in love with your body. You already feel energized. You already feel stronger than you ever have before. And that will be sending this bat signal out to the universe or just to your brain, if that's more in alignment with your value system, that this is who I am and I take action accordingly. So it's a fun chapter. Week 10, how to cope with unwanted attention. Now, if there are any weeks in this entire program that are optional, it's this one. However, for the people who need this chapter, it is the keystone chapter. Without going through the processes of healing in this chapter, everything else becomes diminished. So what this means is there have been studies alluding to potentially as many as 80% of folks who are morbidly obese having had a history of sexual trauma, oftentimes in childhood. And so the subconscious develops this belief and this protective mechanism that the bigger I am, the more invisible I become to predators. Now, can you imagine thinking to yourself, I just need to eat less carbs? Why won't this work? Where's my willpower? What's wrong with me? And this cycle of shame and guilt when it's got freaking nothing to do with carbs. It has to do with your subconscious being so brilliant to try to keep you safe that it created literal insulation to try to hide you from predators. That is a wonderful thing that we need to thank the body for doing. And for years, it was effective. But at a certain point, it becomes a cage. And at a certain point, when you're a grown adult and you are able to protect yourself more and use your voice, it's no longer helpful, right? It's harmful. And so speaking to the subconscious about how you're so grateful it developed this mechanism to keep you safe, but now it's hurting you, and you want to choose another path forward. And that finally being the reason why all the other stuff can start to work, why chewing and hydrating and training yourself to crave exercise, how can that stuff work when your subconscious is doing its job, which is keeping you alive and keeping you safe and protected? So that's why I get so angry when people are like, well, I'm not angry at the person who's going through it. I'm angry at the people who judge others for thinking that they're weak or unable to accomplish a goal that they set out to do when there are so many complicated layers to this. So if there is a subconscious belief that it's scary, it's not safe to receive unwanted attention, then this chapter is the one that will actually change everything forever. And you are so worthy and deserving of finally breaking free from that cycle and finally living in an empowered way, long term. And I'm so excited for you to experience that. Week 11, overcome the fear of success. So there's a fear of failure that a lot of people experience, right? But there's also the fear of success. When you are successful at this, then your entire identity changes. Then the thing that you've thought about every meal 3 times a day, if not more, goes away. What do we fill that space with? What do we fill that time with? What do we think about instead? When we look in the mirror and we see someone we don't recognize, even if they are a vibrant, healthy version of ourselves, what does that mean for every other area of your life? There's a lot that the subconscious fears about being potentially successful. So we want to heal all of those fears at the subconscious level. And finally, week 12, learning to love yourself for the long run. As I said at the top of this episode, if we could quote unquote hate ourselves skinny, nobody would ever need to lose weight, right? We tried the self-hatred way. It doesn't work. But if you love yourself for the long term, you will make those loving choices. You will make the choices that support the success that you've had up until this point, because life throws stuff our way. And when it does, rather than reverting to these old patterns, we can stick to this new normal, stick to the commitment to our health, because that self-love comes first and foremost. So as you can see, there is so much going on at the subconscious level that we can't see, that we have never potentially even consciously considered or thought about. So first things first, we got to drop all the shame, all the guilt, all the feeling bad that it hasn't worked or hasn't stuck in the past, and just be really, really excited about this new radical path forward. So, your homework assignment for this week is to go to the Grace Hypnotherapy app. You can download it for free. And then, if you hit the little icon of the little headphones at the bottom of the app, it'll take you to our full library of content. Scroll all the way down and find the section that says Close Your Eyes, Lose Weight. That is the companion section of our app that matches the book, Close Your Eyes, Lose Weight. Go ahead and open that up. You'll see that it's always unlocked. It's always free. You can go ahead into the regular 12-week series and choose the prep week. Get motivated. It's 15 minutes long. Listen to it every single day between now and the next episode so that you will be totally prepared for the rest of the transformation that awaits you. Now, if you would like some additional hand holding, we've got 2 other programs you can take a look at, and we'll link to those in the show notes as well. The first is a 90-day weight loss challenge, and you will be going through this 12-week program together with lots and lots of other folks inside a shared group. And there is encouragement from our team, and there are daily prompts to fill out. There is accountability, and having these other folks going through the program with you, and they're sharing their wins and they're asking their questions, can be such a motivating force to stay on track. And that is a nominal investment for all that you get. And then there is the upgraded version of that program called Healthy for Life, where you still get the same group program, but in addition to that, you get 12 one-on-one hypnotherapy sessions with a Grace Method hypnotherapist. So not only are you getting everything in the book, everything in the app, an entire group to go through the program with, but the one-on-one sessions will be able to go into your subconscious mind and say, but what were those subconscious limiting beliefs that we need to rewire? Where did they come from? Why did you have them? What was the source of these? The unique construction of your subconscious mind. So if you think about it this way, the app and the book are like working out at home. You got a YouTube video at home and you're doing it on your own, but you're working out, and that's great. The 90-day weight loss program, that is like going to the gym and taking a group class. So you've got friends there. They expected you to be there. They're going to call you if you're not there. And our team will text you to see if you're, we're just checking in on you every day. There's daily text support. So there's that extra accountability and the extra energy and motivation that comes from being in a group class. And then the 12-week Healthy for Life program is the personal trainer. It's the person who does a diagnostic of your body, your subconscious mind, and what exactly you need to hear. And of course, when you have a personal trainer, that's when you see the greatest results the fastest. So depending on what works for you financially, we've got the 3 different levels: the do it your own, the do it with a group, or the do it with a one-on-one hypnotherapist, AKA your personal trainer for your subconscious mind. So feel into what's right for you. You can find the links to all 3 in the show notes. And I'm just so excited for you to take this program and run with it. I hope today's insights about why we struggle with losing weight gave you some new perspectives. If you found this helpful, please share it with a friend, loved one, or colleague who might benefit from listening. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a comment or review, and tune in next week when we'll go even deeper into specific habits that are fundamental to the journey and how hypnosis can help make these effortless to adopt. Until then, take care.